There was a time when my life seemed to be falling apart. Nothing excited me. I felt tired, empty, emotionally drained. Everything that once made sense stopped making sense. But what seemed like a collapse was actually the beginning of a great spiritual update. Maybe you're feeling that right now. Life feels stuck. The world around you keeps spinning. But you're in suspension mode, as if waiting for something. You're not in crisis. You're in transition. What if I told you that all of this is a sign that your soul is being updated? That what seems like confusion and pain is actually preparation for alignment with your higher self. The chosen ones feel this more intensely because they carry a greater mission, a greater sensitivity, and a more urgent calling. They are not here just to live. They are here to transform. Today I want to show you 7 major signs that indicate you're in the midst of a deep spiritual update. If you identify with these signs, know this: you are not alone, and you are not failing, you are evolving. Now go ahead and follow our channel and turn on notifications. I'm George. Let's keep going. At some point on the spiritual journey, a strange emptiness arises. You look at the things that once brought excitement to your life and feel they've lost their charm. Those light conversations, full of superficial laughter, now seem meaningless. It's not a lack of interest. It's as if your heart has migrated elsewhere. This feeling doesn't happen by accident. It comes when the spirit begins to make room for the new. You realize you're no longer the same person. Something inside you has changed, even without understanding why. What once felt natural now sounds like noise. The world remains loud, but you no longer recognize yourself in it. During this phase, many believe something is wrong with them. They think they're becoming cold or distant. The truth is, it's not rejection of the world, but reconnection with oneself. It's as if the soul were saying, "Stop looking outward, now it's time to look inward." This process can be lonely. Friends continue the same conversations, but you no longer feel part of them. Parties and gatherings that once brought pleasure now feel exhausting. It's as if you're physically present, but your heart is absent. A desire for silence, retreat, and pause begins to emerge. The solitude that appears is not a punishment. It's a kind of invitation. An invitation to dive into self-knowledge. The isolation becomes a tool. God, the universe, or your higher consciousness pulls you away from the noise so that you can hear the voice that lives within. A voice that has always been there, but was drowned out. At this moment, you begin to observe yourself with new eyes. You notice reactions, habits, triggers, and patterns that once went unnoticed. It's as if your mind is placing a lens over your own thoughts. Everything starts to be questioned. There's no rush to answer, but there is an urgency to perceive. The encounter with oneself doesn't happen quickly. It's a slow, almost silent process. You realize you've lived a long time on autopilot, pleasing people, following standards, and repeating stories that didn't reflect your true essence. The external disconnection shows that it's time to break free. At this point, many feel fear. After all, the world demands presence, relationships, and social roles. But this withdrawal is necessary. When the spirit asks for silence, it's not to destroy you, but to rebuild you. This emptiness creates space for you to remember who you truly are, without masks or demands. The chosen ones go through this process more intensely. They feel out of place in common environments. They need to step away in order to find themselves again. It's not selfishness. It's care for their own soul. They know they can no longer live as they did before. There is a greater calling pulling each step. Disconnection is a sign of growth. It's the warning that the old no longer serves. It is the beginning of a renewed identity. If you're feeling this phase, don't fight it. Embrace the silence, respect the solitude, and allow your heart to be reorganized. This is the first step of spiritual transformation. After disconnection, another sign begins to manifest. The feeling that everything that was once stable starts to crumble. Relationships come to an end, jobs lose their meaning, friendships fade without any apparent reason. Life feels like a house of cards collapsing with the slightest breeze. It's frightening, but necessary. This collapse doesn't come to destroy without purpose. It arrives as a cleansing. The soul understands that it cannot sustain a new life on old foundations. What once seemed firm was, in truth, fragile. The structures fall because they were not built upon the truth of your being. They were temporary supports. It is a time of pain. The heart feels as if it's in mourning. The ego screams, wanting to return to what was once familiar. But there is no going back. Attempts to revive old relationships or return to former jobs don't succeed. The universe closes doors that were once open. This closure is not rejection. It is redirection. The old path comes to an end because it has fulfilled its purpose. What remains is the feeling of emptiness, as if the ground has vanished beneath your feet. Yet deep down, there is a subtle certainty that something better is coming. The soul understands what the mind refuses to accept. For the new to be born, the old must die. This death is not physical, but symbolic. Patterns, beliefs, roles, and identities that no longer serve must die. The spirit asks for space, and life responds by removing what hinders growth. This phase is challenging. Many weep, feel abandoned, lost. It's common not to understand why everything is falling apart all at once. However, this synchronized collapse is a clear sign of an update. God removes nothing by accident. Each cut creates space for something more aligned with your truth. The chosen ones face this internal earthquake with greater intensity. It's as if they're being tested by fire. Important relationships may come to an end. Long-term plans may fall apart. But along with the pain, there is an inner voice that repeats, "You need to move forward." That voice doesn't go silent, even in the face of longing or loss. Destruction is uncomfortable, but it brings liberation. It is proof that your soul no longer accepts living in illusions. The collapse is a sign that you're being prepared for an authentic life built on solid foundations. This stage demands courage, patience, and faith. When everything seems lost, take a deep breath. Chaos is not your end, it's your new beginning. Reconstruction is born right after the fall, and life, by removing what no longer aligns with who you are, is paving the way for a new chapter to emerge. That is the purpose of the fall, to make room for the rise. There are moments when you feel like you've lost control of your own emotions. In a single day, you might cry for no reason, feel deep anger, laugh intensely, and suddenly be overtaken by fear or sadness. This roller coaster doesn't mean imbalance. It's a sign that your soul is releasing what has been stored for years. Old memories return without warning. Forgotten situations reappear in dreams, flashbacks, or unexpected encounters. Wounds that seemed healed rise back to the surface. This happens because, in the process of spiritual updating, there's no room to carry what no longer serves. The old energy must be released, even if it hurts. It's the path to healing. Many believe they are broken when they go through this phase. They think they've lost emotional stability. But what's really happening is liberation. Every intense emotion is a messenger, pointing to a corner of the soul that is asking for light, care, and attention. The pain is not a sign of failure, but of transformation. The chosen ones feel this even more deeply. Their emotions don't come in small doses. They arrive like strong, almost uncontrollable waves. But hidden within this intensity is the chance to heal completely. By letting the tears fall, you make space for the heart to be purified. It is at this point that simple practices become powerful tools. Writing in a journal helps give form to what doesn't fit in the mind. Talking to someone you trust brings clarity and support. Meditation offers silence to a restless heart. Walking in nature allows energy to reorganize gently. This is not the time to run from what you feel. Trying to suppress emotions only prolongs the pain. The invitation is to listen. If anger appears, understand what it's showing you. If fear arises, ask what it's trying to protect. If sadness comes, see what is asking for farewell. Each emotion carries a unique message. The body also participates in this cleansing. Symptoms like fatigue, palpitations, or a feeling of heaviness may arise. It's not illness, but a reflection of energy in motion. The soul works together with the body to eliminate patterns that were imprinted for years. This union of spirit and matter is an act of deep love. It's natural to feel confused, but know this. This process is not punishment. It's a gift hidden in the pain. Every emotional explosion is a piece of you being restored. Every crisis is a window through which a dormant part of your essence awakens. Don't fight it. Surrender to the flow of healing. The intensity may be frightening, but it also reveals your strength. You are becoming more authentic, lighter, and more truthful. When emotions flow, you stop carrying invisible chains. This phase marks an emotional rebirth. Don't blame yourself for feeling so much. Healing is happening precisely because you finally allowed your soul to speak. After so much emotional intensity, something new begins to stir within you. A curiosity arises that cannot be ignored. Suddenly, practices and topics that once seemed strange begin to catch your attention. It's as if your soul has awakened to remember that there is more beyond what you once knew. It might be an interest in meditation, or a desire to understand how the body's energy works. Perhaps it's a longing to read about reincarnation, consciousness expansion, or different spiritual traditions. The path doesn't matter. What matters is that something within you ignites a flame that seeks answers. At this stage, many report seemingly casual encounters. Books appear at the right moment. Videos cross your path with messages that strike deeply. Strangers say exactly what you needed to hear. These coincidences are not random. They are invitations from the universe, guiding your steps to the next level of understanding. The chosen ones feel this as an irresistible calling. They cannot ignore the desire to learn more, explore more, dive into practices that elevate their consciousness. The heart longs for depth, and nothing shallow satisfies. It's as if the soul is remembering what it always knew, but had forgotten. Spiritual seeking is no longer a hobby. It's not a trend, nor fleeting curiosity. It is a thirst for truth, a need for alignment with something greater. The more you follow this intuition, the more doors begin to open. People come into your life bringing light. New practices start to transform body, mind, and spirit. Many notice physical changes during this phase. Breathing becomes deeper during meditation. The body seems to relax when it connects with energy. The mind becomes clearer when it opens to new ideas. The awakening doesn't happen only in thought, but in every cell that reorganizes itself. This interest in spiritual practices doesn't mean you need to abandon everything you once believed. On the contrary, it shows that your soul is expanding its horizons. It's building a bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. It is a sign of expansion and inner growth. This attraction to new ideas may scare those around you. People close to you may not understand your new path. But it's not about proving anything to anyone. It's about honoring your own journey. Each practice, each discovery, each teaching found is part of remembering who you truly are. This spiritual awakening doesn't happen in a single day. It reveals itself through small discoveries, moments of silence, unexpected connections. But every step is essential. If you feel this calling, don't ignore it. The universe is speaking to you, and your soul is responding. This phase is a reminder that your essence is greater than you ever imagined. There comes a moment when the body seems to carry an invisible weight. You sleep, but wake up tired. You try to rest, but the exhaustion remains. It's not just physical. It's as if something inside you is silently draining your energy. Spiritual fatigue is one of the strongest signs that a transformation is underway. This exhaustion doesn't come from laziness or lack of discipline. It arises because you are between two worlds. You are no longer who you used to be, but have not yet become the new version of yourself. It's as if you are stuck in an in-between space, where everything feels suspended without a clear shape. The metaphor of the cocoon describes this phase well. The caterpillar no longer exists, but the butterfly has not yet been born. Inside the cocoon, there is confusion, darkness, and transformation. What may appear from the outside as mere waiting, on the inside, is complete reconstruction. Your soul is reshaping your energy, creating space for a new awakening. During this time, the chosen ones feel the emptiness intensely. The feeling of not belonging to the past, yet not understanding the future. The doubt arises. Am I doing something wrong? This question weighs on the mind, but the answer is simple. It's not a mistake, it's a process. The emptiness is part of the renewal. This silent space is sacred. In it, the soul rebuilds itself. In it, you learn to trust without seeing. Life removes distractions and movement so that you can rest in the invisible. It is in the silence that new spiritual foundations are laid. It is in the apparent emptiness that energy begins to reorganize. Spiritual fatigue invites you to stop. Not to give up, but to respect the timing of transformation. The body asks for rest because it is adjusting to a new vibration. The spirit demands stillness because it needs space to align. Don't fight this tiredness. Accept it as a sign that something greater is taking place. Many try to speed up this stage, seeking quick answers. But haste steals the opportunity for growth. This is a time of gestation. Just as a baby cannot be born before its time, your new version also needs to go through each stage. Trust is the remedy that sustains this waiting period. The symptoms may feel strange. Lack of motivation, a desire to withdraw, a need for silence. It's common to feel like life has lost its rhythm. But this slowing down is essential. The outer world slows down so that the inner world can grow. What seems like a pause is actually preparation. You are being shaped from the inside out. This emptiness does not mean the absence of life, but reconfiguration. What you feel as lack is, in fact, space. Space for the new to enter. Space for your essence to blossom. In the silence, you learn that you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to trust that the process is guiding every detail. Spiritual fatigue is proof that the update is happening. The discomfort shows that change is not just theory, but reality. If you find yourself in this phase, take a deep breath. Don't fight the tiredness. Allow yourself to rest, to trust, and to feel. Soon you will realize that this emptiness was not the end, but a rebirth. After the silence and the emptiness, something surprising begins to happen. The universe starts speaking to you in subtle ways. Repeating numbers appear on the clock. Dreams filled with symbols become frequent. Songs play at the exact moment you needed that message. These little details are reminders that you are not alone. Synchronicities appear like small cosmic winks. They are signs that seem like coincidences but carry an invisible order. It's as if life were saying, "Keep going." you are on the right path. These signs come when we most need confirmation, when the mind is full of doubts and the heart is asking for direction. That trust creates space for your life to become less about effort and more about flow. Synchronicities are not just reminders, they are also invitations. They ask you to realize that there is a divine order beyond logic, that there is something greater organizing your journey. When you accept this, you discover that you don't have to walk alone. There is an invisible network supporting your every move. This phase brings lightness. Even in moments of difficulty, the signs appear to bring comfort. It's as if the universe were a silent friend, holding your hand in secret. When you see 11:11 on the clock, or dream of something that later comes true, it's like hearing a whisper. Trust, you are on the right path. The chosen ones learn to live with awareness. Every sign is received with gratitude. They understand it's not superstition, but communication. The universe finds creative ways to speak, and the soul recognizes these messages. The more open you are, the clearer the dialogue between you and the invisible becomes. These experiences teach you to release control. You realize you don't need to plan everything. There are moments when it's enough to follow the direction of the signs. This surrender is not passivity, but partnership. You act with faith, knowing that forces are aligning your life according to your highest purpose. Synchronicities are living proof that the spiritual update is in progress. They show that your perception is expanding and that you no longer walk solely on the physical plane. You are connected to something greater, and the signs are reminders that you have never been alone. There comes a point when everything you've tolerated for years no longer fits. Habits that once seemed normal begin to bother you. Repetitive conversations sound empty. Toxic routines drain your energy. Even behaviors that once served as protection now feel like prisons. What once sustained your life now becomes a burden. This change doesn't happen from the outside in. It is born in the heart. It's as if your soul, tired of hiding, finally decides to reveal itself. What no longer resonates causes discomfort. There's no way to pretend. Life makes it clear that it's time to say goodbye to the old version of yourself. The chosen ones feel this intensely. There is an irresistible urge to say no. No to relationships that don't bring truth. No to jobs that don't reflect your essence. No to roles that trap you in limited versions of yourself. This number is not heavy, but liberating. It makes room for a greater yes, the yes to authenticity. This awakening may alarm those who are used to your former self. People close to you may find your new boundaries strange. Some will distance themselves, others will criticize, and some will try to convince you to go back. But you can no longer betray yourself. Truth demands space. And when it comes, the price of authenticity is letting go of what can't come along. The process of detachment is not simple. It stirs up memories, bonds, and fears. There is a sensation of stripping in public, shedding layers of conditioning that have always accompanied you. But alongside the discomfort, there is deep relief. You realize you no longer need to live imprisoned by masks. This phase is liberating because it reveals who you truly are, without the burden of pleasing everyone, without the obligation to repeat family patterns, without the need to hide in order to be accepted. You begin to walk with lightness, guided by your own truth. And that truth illuminates every decision. The birth of the new self happens gradually. It's not a sudden break, but a continuous revelation. With every choice aligned with your essence, a part of you is reborn. With every boundary set, your soul breathes. With every truthful step, the butterfly breaks another piece of the cocoon that once confined it. This stage requires courage. Courage to face judgment. Courage to release what once felt safe. Courage to trust the invisible. But it is precisely in this courage that you discover your strength. Detachment reveals that your identity was never the masks you wore, but the essence that was always hidden. When the butterfly finally breaks free from the cocoon, the flight feels natural. The same happens with you. Detachment, no matter how painful, announces that you are ready to live with authenticity. The old self is left behind, and the new is born before a horizon full of possibilities. This is the final liberation. If you've made it this far and recognized yourself in any of these signs, take a deep breath. You are not failing. You are not lost. What you're feeling is not weakness. It's evidence that something much greater is happening within you. Every pain, every silence, every emptiness is part of your soul's rebirth. What seems like chaos is, in fact, preparation. What feels like loneliness is actually a realignment with your essence. That fatigue weighing on you is your body adjusting to a new vibration. Don't blame yourself for feeling so much. The path of the chosen is deep, because they carry the mission of clearing the way for others. You are experiencing the great spiritual update. And the fact that you're here, reading these words, already shows that you are not alone. Others are also going through the same process. Together we form a silent network of souls, awakening to something greater. Now I want to hear from you. In which of these signs did you most recognize yourself? Leave your comment and share your experience. Your voice may be the answer another heart needs in order not to give up.